Hello everyone, today we are going to explore OpenAI Assistant function calling. If you are not familiar with the OpenAI Assistant APIs, I would suggest you to check out my previous video on OpenAI Assistant APIs V2. I'll mention the link to the video in the description. And let's start with exploring OpenAI function calling. Now, as per the definition, in an API call, you can describe functions and have the model intelligently choose to output a JSON object containing arguments to call one or many functions. Now, let's try to understand it. First, let's see how we can describe a function. If you see this JSON, you'll see name of the function, description, and its parameter details. We are creating a schema of a JSON object, which will be an output when a function is called. This schema will generate a JSON like this. Now let's go through the basic flow of OpenAI Assistant. When we use OpenAI Assistant, user sends a query to the OpenAI Assistant. The OpenAI Assistant then traverses through its vector stores and give a suitable response to the user. In function calling, a user sends a query to OpenAI Assistant. The AI model then intelligently chooses a function and output a JSON object of the schema we defined. Now, in API response, we see that the function is called by the assistant, and based on that, we add our external functions, which could be anything like data manipulation or external API hit, etc. Once our external function is finished executing, we have to call the OpenAI Assistant that the external function call is finished. For that, we use submit tool output. It's a way of telling the external function is executed, then the assistant reads it and provides a suitable answer to the user. Okay, let's look at the assistant flow. I've explained this flow in my previous videos on OpenAI Assistant API V2. If you have any confusion, I would suggest you to check out that video. I will provide the link of that video in the description. The only thing I want you to focus on right side of the flow where we run the thread with the assistant. So we create a thread, add a message to the thread and run the thread with the assistant. When run is successful, assistant add the response to the same thread. Let's look at this one more time. We run the thread with assistant, and after that we check if the run is complete. If the run is not completed, then we again check if the run is completed or not. And finally, when status is completed, we retrieve the message from the thread. So the step where we are checking if the run is complete is the step where we get the information about our function calling. Now let's see how we can add a function in OpenAI. For this video, we'll add it via OpenAI dashboard. Select the assistant where you want to add the function. Under tools, you'll see an option to add the function. To output a JSON object like this, you'll have to describe a function schema like this. Now let's see step by step how function is called in Assistant APIs. For this demo purpose, I've uploaded a PDF file that have latest release updates of Salesforce. So when we run this query with assistant, this is what we get in our run response. So if you look at the response, the required action is null. That means no function was called. And in tools, you'll see our assistant used file search and function for this run. Assistant used our function but didn't call the function because our query didn't match the schema that we defined for our function. So whatever information we got from the file search, it will get back to the user and message is displayed. Now let's see what happens when we send a query that matches our function schema. This is our conversation from our last one. Let's ask it to create a file. In this case, if we check our run response, we'll see the required action is not null. Required action tells us that there are some actions required to complete this run. In required action, you'll see the tool call ID, the function name, and the JSON object. Now, after the function is called, we do our external operation, which could be anything, let's say a third-party API head. Now, when this external function is finished executing, we have to inform our assistant that it's finished and now run operation can be completed. This is what submit tool output looks like. We have tool call ID and we are passing the output. In this demo, we are not creating any files, so I went ahead and added a hardcode response. You can directly add the response from your external operation here directly as well. Once submit tool output is done, run will finish its execution and our message will be displayed. Now let me show you where we can code our external function. I am using a code snippet from the Apex language, which is language similar to Java. This is when we retrieve a run using a REST API hit. We first deserialize the response and check if the required action is not empty. Then we fetch the function name and target specific function that could have been called. Inside this, we'll do our external operation. This code is not optimized and is just to give you a clear picture of how we can code our external function. So now let me give you a live demo of function calling. For this, I've created an assistant, and in vector store, I have a PDF file for latest Salesforce release updates. So first of all, I'll ask our assistant a question that is not something that matches our schema. Let's say, so I'm asking what is new in flows. So once I press enter, it will take some time to give me a response that will come right from the PDF file. So in this case, no function is called. Now let's say I add something like this. So I've created a function that sends me an email, and the content of that email will be the conversation that I had with it. So now I'm asking it to send me an email to this email ID. So when I enter, in this case, a function will be called and I will receive an email. As you can now see, I have received this conversation in my email. So let me show you a quick demo of OpenAI Assistant function calling in OpenAI Playground. So I've selected my same assistant and with the same vector store and with the same function. On the left hand side, you'll see that I have two functions. One would be for the create a text file and second one would be for the send email. So let's say, let's ask this assistant for some question from the PDF. So let's say, what is new in flows? If I press enter, it will run and it will give me a response from the PDF file. So this is the response it's giving me. Okay, now let me ask something that is similar to one of my functions. In our case, let's say send me an email. If I press enter, this will trigger the function call and you can see that it called a function. Now it's asking me to submit the output. So I have to submit the output in JSON form. So what I'll do is I'll do this. I'll say true. When I press enter, it will tell that the required action has been completed and now we can run the submit. See, so this is how we can use function calling in OpenAI Assistant. If you have any question related to this or its implementation, please feel free to reach out to me either in the comment section, or you can ping me on LinkedIn as well, which I'll provide a link to my LinkedIn in the description as well. So thank you all for watching.